Traveling the Vortex.
A dinner was served for free at Castle Dracula by the sea. Dr. Jekyll was there, the hunchback was there, the only normal person was me.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and landed at episode number 145. And one day, it would be nice to have a meal that doesn't end in mortal danger. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
Thank you for my doctor back.
You're welcome.
What were you doing with the doctor?
How are you guys? I was showing him that it was a trench coat and a red bow tie.
For our super secret film project.
It's not super secret. We want people to know about it, especially people that listen in our area.
Yes.
We don't want people in our area to know what we're going to do, though.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Good.
Did you guys have a good week? Well,
it was okay.
Half week.
Yeah.
The old suction cup on the nose trick.
Holly's still saying we got to take the toys away from Sean.
He's going to play all night.
Yeah.
I got new minifigs. Well, they're not minifigs. They're
Vinyl figs.
vinyl figs.
Holly's been sick still. I mean, she's been on her back, as we talked about on the last time, but she finally went back to work on Thursday. She went to physical therapy, and then she was feeling a lot better, so she went back to work. And then it got really rough in the afternoon, and then Friday she powered through it again. She doesn't have physical therapy again until next week. But this weekend she was a little better, but she was still just not, she can't move very much. So unfortunately we missed James and Kara's wedding because the kids had their school carnival on Saturday.
Oh.
So I took them to that.
How was that?
It was fun. It's every year
Standard
it gets,
school
Yeah, every year it gets less and less. Somebody on the iPhone again, or every year it gets less and less organized, or more and more disorganized, I should say.
That's a scary line, Glenn.
So, all right, I just turned mine on airplane mode, and then that was pretty much it. And then today I just spent the day on the internet soaking up all the rumors, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. So that was pretty much it. I didn't watch really anything this week either. Caitlin and Holly watched the Crimson Aura tonight.
Crimson Aura.
So they've only got a couple of more left before they're caught entirely up. Caitlin started the Doctor Who photo challenge that we're doing and caught up with us, and she's doing the ABCs of Star Wars, and she's caught up with that now. So she got all excited because I think it was last night, I think I'd posted mine, or was looking for mine. I actually posted mine. My Doctor Who one. And she asked me what it was, and I told her, and she goes, "Oh, that sounds neat. Can I do that?" And I went, "Oh, sure." So she said, "Well, but or she said, actually, this is what she said. She said, "Next time you do one of those, will you let me know? One of those Doctor Who things, would you let me know?" And I said, "Well," I said, "you know, the rules according to Rachel is if you haven't done them yet, you go ahead and start and get caught up." And I said, "Sean's, you know, he's always playing catch up." So I said, "You'll probably be ahead of him," which now she is. And so I said, so she got all excited about it. She said, "Well, what are they?" I said, so we went through the list of the first 5 days, and because we weren't quite into 6 yet, and then so we went through them and she did some and was having a blast. And so then she knew I was doing the Star Wars one. She goes, "Well, can I do the Star Wars one too?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So
I'm kind of impressed by some of her choices for Star Wars.
Yeah, we went down and, well, I haven't guided her towards any of them, but she goes down and I've got, you know, this bookshelf downstairs that's just full of Star Wars stuff. And so she rifles through and goes, "Oh, there's a good one. You know, that starts with, you know, A, that starts with B, that starts with D." So she knew what she was going to do for A, because she's got that signed picture from Jake Lloyd. And so she went and did Anakin, and she went down.
I was actually surprised that nobody had done Anakin.
First, she went down there and she took a picture of just Anakin on the picture, and I looked at it and I said, "Oh, you didn't get your that he signed it." And then she goes, "Oh, should I do that?" I said, "Well, yeah. You gotta tell people that you got to meet Jake Lloyd." So she goes, "Okay." So she took the picture. So that was her A, and then she started rifling through. Chewbacca, she actually came up on her own. She said, "Well," she goes, "C. Oh, how about Chewbacca?" I said, "Yeah." So we started flipping through all the stuff that I had. Of course, I had that comic book, and that was a pretty good one. I don't know, what'd she do for B? I can't remember.
Boba Fett.
Oh, that's right, because in fact, she saw my Tales of the Jedi book, and she said, "Oh, Boba Fett starts with B, right?" Yeah. And then D. She got to D. Well, C. Yeah, Chewbacca. Then she got to D, and she found My Dark Empire.
That's the one I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, well, she found it because it was on the shelf, and she goes, oh, this would be a good D. And I said, okay. So she took the picture last night, and we tried to send it, and it wouldn't send. And I said, well, maybe because you've done so many pictures, you hit a cap or something. And so we waited. And today we decided to try it again and send it, and it still wouldn't send. And I, what is going on here? And then it occurred to me it was D.
The hashtag, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to actually put the hashtag first. Although my D went out for some reason, so I didn't have any issues with mine. But anyway,
I'm scrolling back through.
Maybe it didn't show up on Twitter. Maybe it didn't go through.
Nope, sure didn't.
What was my D?
I don't know, but it wasn't. It's not in my Twitter stream.
Maybe that's why.
It's
Remember,
not
I
my
tried to
hashtag
send
stream.
it again.
No, you
and
had
it
a whole
didn't go.
bunch that didn't go.
Well, that was different. That was my recipes. But remember, I even after you told me and pointed out that,
Oh,
that
and
they didn't go,
you said
I went and tried again, and it still wouldn't go through Twitter. But that's probably
I
why.
didn't think of that would be
Yeah,
why.
I didn't either. So anyway, so her D didn't go through. So we figured that out, and she got her D, and E sent today, and then she did her today's Huluing, or 31 days of Huluing. Kids went to a birthday party today at lunch, a 1-year-old, and it was doctor themed.
Huh.
But not the doctor you're thinking of. His Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was awesome. They a lot of the decorations were bought, but they did these really cool things with, and you've seen this because Jared had sort of one similar, the lollipop tree. Oh, yes. Except for theirs was raised up on a stick. And it was the round lollipop tree. And then they had the, what are the trees with the, in the Lorax? I can't remember what they're called. It's my favorite book, and I can't remember for the life of me.
The trees in the Lorax.
The ones that they were harvesting, the Onceler and his family were harvesting the trees. Truffla trees. And they had a bunch. They'd made those with like pipe cleaners, and I mean, they just went all out.
Wow.
And it looked. I didn't see them. Holly snapped pictures because she dropped the kids off, and they just looked fantastic. So they really went all out, and that was pretty cool.
You can get your own truffla tree on Etsy for $10.
All right. Well, maybe they could have saved some time. They had spent some money though. Maybe they took them $10 to make those trees. I don't know. Anyway, and then today I kind of vegged out, watched football, and surfed the internet for all the news I could find about a certain subject we're going to talk about in a little bit. And I'm done. That's all I did this week.
I watched Thursday night shows. Drew came over for Friday Night Who, since Sean wasn't hosting.
He came over here?
Yeah, he came over here and he watched it, and he really liked the movie. It wouldn't surprise me if soon he owns it.
Oh, is that right?
He really liked it. So anybody we can convert to a movie fan, all the merrier.
Yes.
And then Saturday, a friend's wedding, went to that. Sean will go into more detail about that because he was more involved than I was.
Yeah, we missed it because Holly was sick, and I had to take the kids to the... I think I said that already. My stomach's hurting.
Today, just kind of...
stomach issues, so if I'm not in sorts, that's why. If I'm out of sorts, that's why.
Today we did some running around. Sarah went to a baby shower, so I came home and played some video games.
Did you get in a fever yet?
Not yet. But yeah, been pretty low key since Wednesday. Not a lot going on. How about you, Sean?
Well, let's see. I flew back from Maui.
That doesn't count because we've recorded since then.
I went straight to a gig where I ran a camera.
We didn't cover any of that, actually.
And then I went straight home. I went to school. Then I went to a podcast and recorded. Then I went to work, and then went to the wedding. Went back to work, and then came to this podcast. So that's pretty much been my week.
A lot of work.
How was the wedding?
The wedding was really good. It was very nice. It was a beautiful spot up there in North Lawrence that I had never been to.
Yeah,
before.
me neither. I didn't even know it was there.
Big old farmhouse and a barn and a bread and breakfast type place and very pretty lawn, which is
it was an outside wedding.
Outside wedding.
A little chilly.
Yeah, it was.
It was
bad.
all shaded,
It
too.
wasn't near as bad as yesterday. Yesterday was even more chilly, I thought, but
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
that's what I said. See, I'm told you I'm out of sorts. I was thinking what it was.
Well,
today.
I thought today was a little chillier than
for
yesterday.
some reason I'm thinking.
But then
today's
again, I wasn't wearing a
Saturday.
suit today.
I suppose if we're being pedantic, it was 2 days ago.
Yeah,
It's
now
true.
it was.
Yeah, we were actually kind of grateful that we had the tuxes on.
Do you think it was colder today than it was yesterday?
I thought so. Well, the only time I went outside yesterday was when I threw on clothes to go check mail.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, I went outside in my suit. So,
Oh,
I don't know. 3-piece suit kind of
Yeah, that
keeps you warm.
Yeah.
I was at work all day. I don't know what today's weather is like.
I wore a hoodie all day outside. And when I was playing video games, I had the windows open, and I was a little cold still wearing my hoodie. So,
I wear a hoodie now. Hoodies are cool.
yeah, hoodies are cool.
Said gangster doctor.
I didn't wear mine, did I? I
No.
didn't wear a coat at all.
Our mayor wouldn't like that. Or our former mayor.
Ball caps and hoodies.
Just Google Topeka mayor hoodies.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you'll find the story.
national and I'm sure worldwide too.
At least that's not the same instance as most inappropriate joke guy.
You were
or
in the
whatever
wedding,
that
right?
was.
I was in the wedding, yeah.
What'd you do? Groomsman.
I groomsed.
You groomed him.
No, I didn't groom him. I groomsed.
You groomsed.
You know how like ushers ush? I groomsed.
So does that entail like monkeys where they go and pick the little fleas off and eat them? No. Not that kind of grooming.
Really, it's...
Not that kind of groomsing.
Adam said this, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that he's really right. Because realistically, as a groomsman, your job is to show up, stand where they want you to stand, walk where they want you to walk at the pace they want you to walk, and then you get to drink a lot of beer and eat
true.
food. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty much the
It's a
extent
good
of your
gig.
responsibility.
It's a good gig.
Yeah, you got to pay for the tux, but and I could be wrong, but I think now this is I want to say this is my 28th wedding. I kid you not. I'm like bordering on professional groomsman. So if you have a spot in your upcoming nuptial
He
ceremonies,
cleans up nice.
I clean up nice. I don't eat much, and I'm available.
I texted Keith yesterday because I couldn't remember exactly what time it was, but I wanted to send James and Kara congratulations. Text it. And I wanted to wait until after the ceremony. I don't want to be in the middle of it.
I don't think they had their phones on them.
So I
that night anyways.
texted Keith, hoping it wasn't the middle of the ceremony, to ask for sure what time it was. And so I said, well, I wanted to text you congratulations because we're not going to make it. Holly's down on her back, and I've got the kids. And so he texted back and said, well, good. Does that mean that they won't be cursed since, or the marriage won't be doomed since you actually just forgot about this, or you didn't forget about this?
Since you didn't forget about the wedding.
And I texted back and said, I hope that does avoid the curse, but I was at your second wedding and it still didn't end up right. So.
Yeah, that's true. But
I didn't go to yours, although I knew about yours. I just couldn't get off for your first one.
For the first one.
And I forgot about Keith's, which sounds terrible every time I bring it up. But to be quite honest, we'd only known each other about 8 months at that point.
Well,
maybe a little longer.
We had known each other for...
We weren't really friends
We'd known each other
until-
for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Been friends for like 8 months.
Right.
And then you never saw me because I was working the
That's
morning
right.
shift
You
at
were
the
over
other
at-
station.
Yeah, you were at 49 and you were at...
I was working 6 to 2 and...
you were also at CD Trade Post at that time, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part-
So yeah,
part of that.
so that I have an excuse. It wasn't
Yeah.
like it was.
And I
because
I
you
just
worked
like
at
to
the other
tease
end
you
of the
about it.
building when we first met.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have an excuse. I don't really have an excuse.
It's more fun to tease you about it.
I don't really have an excuse. I should have went to that wedding. It wasn't until I think I was brushing my teeth or something. No, yeah, I was brushing my teeth and he called me. No, you texted me. I don't know.
I
One or
remember.
the other.
Might be.
Now, where are you at?
Might have been pretexting.
Oh, it's Keith's wedding. No. All right, we're not going to revisit that.
We've talked about
I
it
sound
several
like a real
times.
douche.
It was a very low key affair, which was a lot of fun. We even I don't know if it
It
came
was about the
across-
size of ours, I
Yeah,
think.
but I just
I like those kind of weddings,
Just
those
the,
small
the
intimate
well,
weddings.
not necessarily size, but atmosphere. I think it was pretty. 'cause
Oh,
even-
yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know.
pretty.
I don't know if it came across from the audience, but even while we were standing up there doing our, being officiating kind of stuff, we were
Your
laughing,
Adam's pose.
cracking jokes, and just Trying to remember. Yeah. Just having a good old time. And then Adam had worked out this wonderful surprise ahead of time where he'd made this gigantic achievement plaque. And we had it hidden up there so that as the pastor announced, now pronounce you Mr. and Mrs. James Hecker, and introduced him to the audience, we handed it up, and Adam held it up over his head like the say anything boombox. And it says achievement unlocked, 9,000 gamer points, the spouse.
That's pretty clever.
And Will cracked up, and Kara thought it was awesome, so that was great. And then we had breakfast for dinner.
Yeah. The original wedding where they served breakfast.
Very original wedding. They had scrambled eggs and pounds of bacon. And
wow.
Biscuits and gravy.
That's kind of
and mimosas.
That's a good meal and inexpensive for
yeah. And then there was no wedding cake. There was wedding pie.
Wedding pie?
Because Will does not like pie. And Kara said, absolutely, we can have
You mean
pie.
he doesn't like cake?
Or he doesn't like cake.
Because the cake is a lie.
They had pie. So it was breakfast and pie. And, people kept coming over going, this is the most awesome thing I have ever seen at a wedding. And they got pounds of, big mound of scrambled eggs and bacon.
That's pretty cool.
There was a lot of pie left over. I don't think people quite knew what to do with the pie. I think people were expecting cake, and it was like, what do you mean there's no cake?
Well,
breakfast was a little weird, but what do you mean there's no cake?
And they had wedding favors, the activity books on the tables with crowns for the kids to do.
That's cool.
And one of them was bingo. The center square was wedding cake. So you couldn't complete it.
Get it.
There was an I Spy. One of it was wedding cake.
Aww.
So you couldn't complete the I Spy.
Wow.
It's like, why are you torturing us?
Chip the kids. That's cool. I wonder who made that.
Oh, it is you.
I told Keith about it.
Glenn made a meme.
I did make a meme. I made that this afternoon.
I
was
so around the internet then.
I did. I was all over. I was like, no, we'll talk about the meme in a little bit too. But, yeah,
I'm all excited. I'm sharing this meme with Glenn. Going, he's like, I made that.
I couldn't hold it in, so I asked Keith if he'd seen it. And then he asked me if I'd made it, and I said, yeah. So then I didn't say anything to you, and then you found it.
I found it and shared it, only to discover you already know about it.
Well, good. I'm glad that
they did the time warp as a group dance.
Oh, that's
the entire
fun.
wedding party.
The entire wedding party.
Halfway through, everybody else could join in. It was pretty cool.
That's a neat idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to news.
News. First up, Gareth Roberts was tweeted asking if he was going to be doing any more novelizations after Shada, and he replied saying, "Oh, I feel like blabbing. I'm writing of City of Death right now. Should be out next year."
That's awesome. If he does as good as he did with Shada, that'll be phenomenal.
I think he's a great author to
And City of Death hasn't
emulate.
been novelized. That kind of surprises me.
I had no idea.
Again, a Douglas Adams, so that might be tied up in a estate, and maybe that's why. The estate of Douglas Adams said, "Yeah, go ahead." He did such a good treatment on Shada.
Yeah. Well, because that's the one that they tried to get him to write a novelization of, and
City or Shada?
City.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're told that story. That they kept asking him for a novelization of City of Death, and he said absolutely. And then they offered him the standard writer's.
Oh, Douglas Adams. Yes. I thought you were talking about Gareth Roberts.
No.
Well, that seems strange.
When Douglas Adams said, sorry guys, I make more than that.
I have a little novel that's a bestseller now. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I knew that story.
So that's why it never got done. So it's kind of cool now that there's finally going to be.
Hopefully, Garrett's making a lot more than what the standard.
I would hope not.
Hopefully, the standard's gone higher.
Based on the success of Shada. Although Shada was partially successful because it doesn't really exist in very many forms and complete. So,
well, they did do a line of those re-releases of novelizations. I don't know if those did very well or not.
Probably. That's probably why you got the City of Death gig, that and Shada. So.
They disappeared off the shelves pretty quickly, I know.
He's a great writer.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it'll be as funny.
I hope so. I hope he has a wealth of notes that maybe Douglas didn't get into the script, but had notes for that he'll be able to
maybe expound on more.
Maybe he'll actually put John Cleese in the book. Like the guy's got a whole...
Cleese should do a foreword.
He's got a whole plot line with him that just kind of weaves through, and then they finally meet at that point in the thing. And
The Louvre. What's up next?
Filming has wrapped for the Christmas special.
I saw that tweet today. That was kind of nice. Or was it yesterday? Yeah, it was
October 5th was the initial tweet. Yeah, because Friday... No, wait. Yeah. Yesterday. Matt,
Friday was not yesterday.
Saturday, Matt filmed his regeneration.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Ready? You ready? So James at work, you know James.
Yes.
He's over and joins us for Friday night occasionally. He had this really nifty idea. Okay. So we don't 100% know if Matt's going to be in the Christmas special or if he's going to regenerate into the 50th. I know they keep going back and forth on this, right?
I'm pretty sure we know.
I'm pretty sure we know
that he's in the 50th.
But what if?
Or the Christmas special.
What if? Here's an interesting idea. What if we're having the adventure, we've got the two doctors, we've got David Tennant, and we've got Matt Smith. And we're going along on this adventure, and then all of a sudden something happens. Matt gets shot by a Dalek, Matt gets thrown off with a radio telescope. Something bad happens to Matt, and he's forced to regenerate. And Tennant's doctor is with him. And Matt says something to the effect of, "Don't leave me, I won't," and he's holding him and lying in his arms, and he regenerates, and Peter Capaldi sits up. And David Tennant is present for all of that. Now, A, it's never been done. So that alone makes it kind of cool. B, it really suddenly retcons why David Tennant is so cranky during the special season when the dude tells him your song is ending, because he's seen it now. He knows what this process is going to be like. And it's just like, ooh, that's really kind of a cool idea. Probably won't happen. James told me that. I was like, that's really kind of cool. I got to share that with the guys.
Neat.
Sorry, didn't mean to hijack the news there.
No, that's all right.
Glenn's giving me this, I can't believe we still allow you to come and talk.
That's quite all right. That was kind of a neat idea.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah. Yeah.
Aside from Matt leaving early, yeah.
Wait, why would Matt leave early?
Because he's saying it's during the 50th.
If it happens during the 50th and not Christmas.
Oh, Matt. I'm out of sorts. I didn't.
Matt Smith.
I'm impressed you got through the words, Matt has filmed his regeneration without breaking.
There's a wall right there.
He chooses not to fully acknowledge it.
The Christmas special is going to come out on DVD and we're going to be like, where is it? It's in the freezer. Do you want to put it in the freezer? Yeah.
I want to put it in the freezer. What was it? It was, Rachel pointed out that he had regenerated.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I said on Facebook, but it was more of like, please don't go.
Don't want to go.
I don't want to go.
Don't want to go on the cart.
I'm excited for Peter Capaldi.
I am too.
Bring on Peter.
Although, you know, I thought of this.
Matt, don't let the door hit you on your... No, I'm just kidding.
I thought of this
Watch it, man.
this week as well. It's very unlikely now with the casting of Peter Capaldi that our second wish list request of an older companion is even remotely going to come to be now. I don't think they would skew the show older by putting an older doctor and an older companion together.
No, I don't think so.
What are you looking for?
Those cashews, did you...
They're in the box.
You hit them away so you didn't need them all.
Yeah, you can have some more.
So I would eat them all.
So both of you.
Maybe it's the cashews.
I brought back coconut covered. What are they? Coconut roasted?
Oh, we didn't talk about what Sean brought us back.
Coconut cashews.
Toasted, roasted. No, they're
Sean
toasted.
didn't bring us
Toasted
anything
coconut
back.
cashews.
Well, he
Sean
shipped things
shipped
back.
stuff back.
Sean
Took the
shipped
same
back for
form
me
as I. Not at the same time.
Kanoko coffee candy, Hula Girl coffee candy, and it's really delicious. And some locally grown in Hawaii.
Are those actual beans? I thought
Yeah.
that was the candy when you gave it to me. I thought, well, that's some really strong smelling candy,
this
but
is
okay.
the actual beans from Hawaii that, according to Sean, they don't ship out of Hawaii.
That's why they smell better than Folgers.
Oh yeah, they're actually Hawaiian. See, here's what the candy smells like.
Oh, that's more chocolatey.
It smells chocolatey, but it has a coffee taste.
It's coffee chocolate.
Well, I hope so if it's candy.
Well, black sugar, glucose syrup, hydrogenated palm oil, Hula Girl freeze-dried Kona coffee powder, soy lecithin, and artificial flavor.
That'd be a little like, taking the grounds right out of the can and just shoving them in your mouth.
I've had chocolate-covered coffee beans. They're not bad.
Yummy.
Yeah, the locals talk about this Hawaii's local buzz coffee, and apparently they don't ship it off the island. It's made on the Big Island and distributed to other islands.
Are you allowed to ship it off the island?
He did.
I didn't say did it get caught.
No, you can buy it and bring it. It's an export, whatever that is. There were people at the airport though getting stopped because they had fruit in their bag.
Yeah,
there were like 4 or 5 checkpoints.
Well, that's
with
just
big signs. Yes, you have to do this again. Yeah. And they went through the bag.
Even though you're flying from state to state, you still have to cross international waters.
Yeah. So no fruits, but the coffee's okay.
It was freeze dried. It was vacuum sealed too.
They do not ship. They don't export it.
Right.
I mean, like Kona coffee is the big one over there, and it's available pretty much anywhere. But this stuff apparently is island grown, island made, island produced, and island consumed because they don't ship it out.
And you said it's going to kick me in my teeth.
That's the rumor. I didn't try it.
I'm going to find out tomorrow.
We will eagerly await the text.
That's before February 1st.
I have no teeth.
Since I will be sleeping in a little bit tomorrow, anyways.
So, and what did you get, Glenn? What did you get?
I got some really, really nifty Christmas ornaments.
Oh, thank you for saying so.
Sean knows that I'm a huge Christmas nut, and so I can add those to my ornament collection. The one of them is this gorgeous glass ball that has like palm trees and Christmas lights on the outside of the ball. It's like crystal or glass or whatever. And then on the inside there's a palm tree scene, like a beach scene with palm trees in it. And then the second one is just one of those basic, I call them foam balls, but it's has glitter all around the outside, then it has palm trees around it. And then there's this really cute little figurine that's Santa in a bathing suit, his guts hanging out, and he's got his sack thrown over his shoulder and his Christmas hat on. So.
And he's on a surfboard.
Very cool. Oh, he is on a surfboard, yes. Very cool. He doesn't have a tiki statue hanging around his neck, so he's okay. None of that for him. All right, let's move on. More news. The last bit of news. The big bit of news. In fact, I put it in all caps on my notes.
I bought more Titans vinyl minifigs.
That's the big news.
That's the big news. We have them at work. We have them cheaper than anybody else does. I keep buying them. There may not be any left.
Are they really cheaper? Or is that with your discount?
They're $7.99 at Vintage Stock. They're $12.99 at Hot Topic.
Oh, everything is more expensive at Hot Topic.
I thought I paid $12.99 for that.
Shouldn't it? $7.99.
$12.99 for the
action figure.
I
tried. The action figure was $12.99. Yeah.
That was probably...
I knew I paid $12.99 for some. Yeah, I got a little Dalek action figure then. I bought a vinyl figure. And of course, I got the one in there that I didn't want. But, oh well. He's cute.
Got this one.
He's cute. And from one of my favorite... In fact, it's from my favorite episode of that series, which is the Clockwork.
If you want to bring
which
it
is
in
why
and trade it, I'll give you the variant.
Knowing that that's one of your favorite episodes, I was kind of surprised that you were disappointed that that's the one you got.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
my Dalek's taking out my weekend.
Why are we stalling? This is big news we want to talk about.
The
Mirror
Mirror
at home right now is shouting, "Get on with it!"
The Mirror is claiming that 100 long-lost episodes of the show were found more than 3,000 miles away in Ethiopia. And that if the tapes are returned in time, the BBC hopes to announce the news during the celebrations next month.
Which is not much different than the rumors that were, postulated in May and June, which the BBC shot down.
This was the initial story that came out.
In fact, I saw it. I went ahead and posted it on the our Facebook site because, I thought, well, here it is again. But
there were some tweets to follow it up. Did you see those tweets, Glenn? Mm-hmm. Okay. Doctor Who's brand manager Edward Russell tweeted, "It's Sunday, the weather's gray, and the papers are full of rubbish." Asked if he was referring to this above story,
right?
And he said, "What do you think?" So that to me would say,
Not so much.
and somebody from the restoration team wrote on Twitter, "I would love it to be true, but it isn't." And somebody, the editor of the Doctor Who magazine, said, "It's nonsense, I'm afraid." However, Doctor Who Online claimed there's definitely some misinformation about the Doctor Who missing rumors in today's Daily Mirror. "We will finally break our silence on the subject by saying missing episodes have been found, and some official news will be released within the next month. Can't say anything further, but it seems various outlets are reporting this now. As far as we've been told, it's not as many as 100. Then, this drama continues to unfold. The Radio Times picks up the story and says missing episodes from Doctor Who will be made available for sale to the public this week.
Now I think that's kind of a key one there, because it's not the Mirror.
Yeah,
It's not
Right.
the National
It's
Enquirer.
Radio
This is
Times.
Radio
It's
Times,
the
who has a
Radio
very good
Times.
relationship with the BBC.
And it's not saying a number. It's just saying missing episodes. It says the BBC Worldwide will put the previously lost episodes from different stories, both believed to be from the Patrick Troughton era, on sale on digital platforms such as iTunes from Wednesday.
Does it say Wednesday? I thought it said Tuesday.
It says Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
They're holding a press
Conference Tuesday. Yeah.
They believe the haul originated from Africa and have been digitally remastered for sale, although the details remain sketchy. BBC spokesman's not officially confirming this yet. And then the Mirror updates again, sourcing, I'm assuming itself, and
Sourcing
Sourcing
itself.
and the Radio
Remember,
Times.
this is the Mirror.
That BBC is now called a press conference and a screening on Tuesday in a London hotel. The location seems odd. Why a London hotel?
Because they have ballrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably a venue that...
We closed Television Center. We used to be able to hold stuff in-house, but not so much anymore. I'm not expecting everybody to truck up to Cardiff for this news.
So
an invitation was sent out. The event details written inside the screen, an old-fashioned 60s style television set, complete with a dial tuned in the channels, seeming to hint at the type of news to come. Journalists will be told exactly what old footage has been recovered, with some of it then broadcast on screen to watch. A senior BBC source said there will be big news this Tuesday regarding lost Doctor Who episodes.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
wait.
this.
The BBC spokesman played down the reports that more than 100 of the old episodes had been found.
Yeah.
However, when he was asked if there were some episodes to announce this week, he admitted there is a connection. So we're still waiting for.
So ultimately, what it looks like from all of this that we've gone through is that there's probably
I was
not.
right.
Well,
I was right. Say it, Glenn.
I lean to
Say it.
to the fact that it's probably not the 100. I think that the Mirror probably was basically regurgitating the previous rumor,
Agreed.
which was
Yes.
that hundreds of episodes or hundreds of stories have been found in Africa. I think ultimately, and Keith talked a little bit about this off mic, I think ultimately what it will be is there's only a few. There's probably Power of the Daleks or The Abominable Snowman or something, and maybe not even all of the episodes.
Yeah,
but
just one of the episodes.
the idea is to get it out soon because there's not going to be a lot of time to get, because this is the 50th anniversary year, and instead of waiting for a DVD to get it, added to like they did with Galaxy 4, putting that on the Aztecs special edition, right? Is that my?
I think that's right.
Okay. They're going to put it out there digitally so that fans can get a hold of it, within this anniversary year. So
That seems to me to be the only reason why they would be releasing these digitally.
yeah.
Well,
Is that it's an episode out of a story that we still don't have the rest of the story.
See, and I'm not even sure it's just an episode out of the story. I would go as far to be like Sean and think of glass half
But
full.
how much? But that's
Glass half
How much of
full,
that's
and
optimism
say that
and-
there's probably a lot, but I think that there's a good chance that it's probably a full story that they have found, but we'll see. I mean, the track record is that typically it's only ever been one or two episodes out of certain
Yes.
stories, because What was the other one you had brought up, Sean? Was recently
Galaxy 4
and
Underwater Menace.
Yes, one out of the Underwater Menace.
Or Moonbase. No, Moonbase was being animated.
Yeah, Moonbase.
So it's Underwater Menace.
So,
what if? I just now thought of this.
I want to go back to the part where you say I was right. That's what I really want to drill down on.
What if the episodes that were found were ones that were previously animated, and that's why they're releasing them digitally?
Well, that could be indeed as well. I think that
time for the special edition.
That would be unfortunate. That
it'd be like you just found these two from Reign of Terror.
Exactly, because it's or even
one coming
up from that. Yeah, that's what it'd be unfortunate if it was something that hasn't released yet.
Oh,
because you put all that money into animating some episodes, and then suddenly
you mean we're already done with the Moonbase, and you found these 2 episodes.
My thought earlier was that perhaps they found what was missing from the Invasion, and that's why they pulled Invasion off the market, because you can't get the Invasion right now, and it's only 3 years old.
Yeah, it's not
on DVD.
I was looking to get that.
Yeah, so maybe it's those, but anyway,
we'll find out Tuesday.
The exciting thing is, yes, we'll know by Tuesday, and Wednesday it sounds like we'll have some new Who available. And as I posted on Facebook, I will download the digital versions of whatever it is, whether it's piecemeal or whether it's full episodes or full stories, and I will download them. And then when and if they are released on DVD, I will buy that DVD as well. So they're going to get their money out of me twice.
A couple of factors to look into that, again, trying to temper everybody's excitement levels, is that, one, yes, we found that, or we were assuming, yes, we found some new episodes. That's kind of where we're all leading at. We don't know which episodes, we don't know how many, and we don't know the condition of them. That's the other thing that we really kind of have to take a look. Now, they're obviously in good enough shape that they can clean them up and release them digitally. So that's fantastic news. But, it would be such a tragedy to announce, we found 110 episodes of Doctor Who, and they were decayed beyond recognition and might as well not have even bothered renouncing it that we found them. I mean, that would just be like the ultimate.
Yeah,
that's true.
Which could be this news as well. Yeah,
grain of salt.
We found all these other ones, but these were the only 2.
These are the only. Maybe they did. Maybe they found
say.
Everything, but only 2 of them are releasable.
The other thing, and here's me with my jubilant optimism again tonight, which I don't usually carry to this show, but my hope is that they found a significant amount, and these are the 2 stories or episodes that they're releasing that they've had a chance to clean up, because it takes a while. It takes a while to do that. Process. It's not a quick process, and they don't want to put just junk out there. So they want to make sure that it looks good and is available. And so you work on them a little bit of time, and so they look at it and go, well, let's do these 2 now, and then in 6 months we have 2 more stories or 2 more missing pieces, and then in 6 months we have 2 more. I'm hoping that that's the case. Obviously, again, we'll find out on Tuesday, which is just now less than a day away. So,
didn't say what time it was either.
No, but even evening there is noon here. So
yeah, we'll know early.
Yeah, we'll know early in the day. That's a little more than a day. Less than 2 days away.
Now, this is 2 years running now that we've got a really nice Christmas present in the form of we found something.
Did we have that announcement before Christmas last year?
Yeah.
I guess we did, because we saw Galaxy 4. Well, you didn't, but we got to see.
I didn't think the Galaxy 4 was
in
right
February.
Until right before Galley.
Was it?
Or during Galley. I don't remember.
Where were you during the Galaxy 4 presentation? That I was in there watching it and you didn't.
I don't know.
Were you up getting Mel ready for the
it might have been
costume? Well,
that sounds
we didn't
right.
do costume contest, but we might have been up getting her dressed for costume, or we might have, I don't know, I might have been taking a nap.
Because it seemed like it was in the evening that they did it, though.
Wasn't it after the main opening?
No. Opening ceremony, because we were at opening ceremony.
We were at opening ceremonies.
But I thought he ducked out. Early.
No, I missed opening ceremony.
No, he missed opening.
Oh, yeah,
because
that's right.
Because I flew in late. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I got to see it at Galley. Chrissy, I think, was in there watching it, too. Anyway, so exciting news. I don't know.
You sound very excited.
The funny thing is, I'm totally excited. The only thing is we'll probably get this podcast out and then find out when I'll be behind.
Yeah.
I'm off tomorrow, so hopefully I can get the podcast out on time.
Well, that's the way we generally work. Is we are so far ahead of the curve, we lead the news. So it sounds like we're really far behind. Like, oh, you guys are just now reporting on that. It was like last week. And it's like, yeah, it's because we were talking about it last week, and now we're really talking about it because we know what's going on.
If only could have a TARDIS to go ahead 2 days to find out what the announcement is. Wait a minute, if I had a TARDIS, I'd just go back and rescue the episodes. Not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Yeah, I got a problem with that.
All right, shall we move on to feedback?
Yeah.
All right, feedback.
Or you looked at me like there was a song.
I don't have a song.
First up, Alex. Aloha, travelers. Hey guys, Alex here.
I
Just
think you
writing.
need to read that like claptrap.
Aloha, travelers.
Aloha, travelers!
Okay, it's been a while since I played some Borderlands.
You make me sad.
I'm playing Last of Us.
How's it?
It's good, but it's really hard. It's one of those games where I die a lot. And I can only play for like an hour at a time because I get too frustrated or it's such a heavy story that I'm just like, that's too much.
Okay, continue.
Hey guys, Alex here, just writing in to welcome Sean back from his adventure in Hawaii. I really enjoyed listening to you recounting all your mishaps and wanderings. Your brother's Dora the Explorer's sense of navigation was a particular highlight, and Hawaii sounds like an absolutely beautiful place. Also, I know your pain when it comes to trying to stand up on a surfboard. I've attempted it several times in the past, but my abysmal balance and lack of coordination practically throws me into the water every time. In your response to your question about e-readers, I don't know if I can be of any help since I'm personally not very fond of them. I just can't help but prefer to have a physical copy of a book in my hand. Plus, if you keep all your books on an e-reader, you never get to organize all your books on a bookshelf and watch your collection grow. I was laughing when listening to Keith talk about getting to rearrange his bookcase because I'm exactly the same. However, I'm not worried about e-readers killing off books. I don't think a nuclear apocalypse could kill off books. They're cockroaches of storytelling platforms. And I do recognize how convenient they can be. I just have an irrational mistrust of them. Of all my friends who have e-readers, the Kindle seems to be by far the most well-liked choice. So, though I don't have any personal experience with any of them, that seems to be the best way to go. Also, it was a lot of fun listening to you guys talk about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. last week. I'm currently rewatching all of the MCU films, that's Marvel Cinematic Universe, with my sister to try and bring her up to speed. And I'm waiting until we've finished all the movies before I start with the TV show. I'm really looking forward to it, though. And if you guys ever do start branching off and reviewing non-Who related stuff, the MCU would be a great place to start. That's all.
Do that now.
That's all for me. I promise next time I send in feedback, it'll at least be partially about Doctor Who. But for now, happy traveling.
I'll bring this up.
Alex, you're very smart to wait to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. until if you haven't seen
He's
Iron
already
Man
seen
3.
it. He's just watching him with his...
But still, just Iron Man 3 is a good reference point.
I have to bring this up because this has been postulated twice, and I didn't say anything last week, but I sort of wonder if there was some caveman somewhere. When paper was invented, it said, paper will never kill off stone. And then, eventually when books came around, there was some monk sitting around going, you know what? These books will never kill off scrolls.
Bah, how long would it have taken?
I'm not talking about longevity. I'm just talking about never. That's just too finite. That's too finite.
I said Netflix would never kill video stores.
So, see, I think
that
the point I'm trying to get at here is I don't think written material will ever not exist because
no.
That's when you equate movies didn't kill off books in libraries. Well,
it's not the same.
It's not the same. But I have a feeling that written material will continue to evolve. Now, are we close to e-readers taking over books entirely? No, probably not. But will it someday? I think it's hard to say. It will never happen. I think print books at some point will become obsolete, but probably not in our lifetimes.
I think e-readers are in a greater likelihood of being obsoleted.
Just from other e-readers.
From other readers.
Well, it's just
when it gets down to the
e-readers-
point where you have the Matrix plug in the back of your head and you just digitally download information. You're
That'll
writing,
be
who
that
wants an
probably will
e-reader?
happen eventually too, but not. It's even further off.
I don't think that'll be in
I
our
think the thing
lifetime.
is, though, e-readers are still in their infancy. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true too.
yeah. So to say that they will never be killed off, I don't think you can do that. But probably in the sense that they're both referring, it would be a long time and probably not in our lifetime before they were gone. So I mean, they don't have books in Star Trek anymore. I mean, if they do, they're like relics. They're
that's
antiques,
true.
You know.
And they basically have e-readers.
Right. All right.
Everything.
Anyway, next up.
You haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I
yet?
still have not watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm thinking maybe tomorrow will be my day to play catch up.
If you wait till Tuesday, you could do 3.
I could. Wait a minute.
All right. Next up is David.
David writes, at long last, the true threat of Prisoners of Time is exposed. But boy, what a clumsy way of getting there. Dear Vortex Gang, just finished reading issue 9 of Prisoners of Time, so I thought I'd send them some feedback, specifically with regards to the big reveal. Spoilers ahead for any of you that haven't read it. That's me, not him, because, of course, we're reviewing
You haven't read it?
No, I said that's me, not him saying that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I told you all of my homework
Lord.
was done this week. Well, all my Vortex homework, all my real homework is still sitting there waiting for me.
Well, that's okay then.
Not really. I thought the issue itself was good.
No, that's okay for me.
But the story was one that had been done before. And this time, nothing new was really added to it. Although I did like the Scrooge McDuck reference. However, the reveal that the big bad of the whole series was, in fact, Adam, was one that I was half not expecting. I did kind of expect Adric sometimes, and even at one point thought it was going to be a totally original character. But did appreciate to a point. You see, the whole way in which Adam managed to become a swashbuckling, time-jumping being seemed a bit, well, over the top and dumb. Something just feels a bit off to me about it, but I guess I'll hold full judgment until after the series is done. It's just something about seeing that tube connected to his head, or the whole, I managed to get a ton of money and no one noticed me, so I was able to hire people to break into the museum that's meant to be filled with concrete stuff, that put me off. Still looking forward to the rest of the series, and indeed your show, David. David, I suspect we'll have many thoughts in regards to your thoughts when we actually get to the review, but
That will come up shortly.
When that's coming soon. So, all right. Next up is
Chrissy.
All right. Chrissy writes, a blast from the past, the future. Dear Vortex Boys, okay, who called it? One of you predicted that the big bad of Prisoners of Time would be Adam, but I can't remember who. Whoever it was, have a cookie.
that would be key.
I remembered us postulating it, but I couldn't remember because we talked about it.
We did talk about
but I couldn't remember which one of you. And Keith and he
It was
reminded me the other
Keith
day it was
that said
him.
it.
So yeah,
And for the record,
so you can say I told you so.
I told you so. But for the record, I was joking about it.
Yeah, I remember us playing light on it because we
wasn't
thought, the last person could be as Adam. But it's a possibility.
The newbie gets one right. Oh, you can't have any. You're reading.
All right. She goes on to write, now that we've had the reveal, I'm curious where they're going to take this story from here on out. Obviously, the stories for 10 and 11 are going to be slightly different from the others. It feels like we got the climax of the story early, though. 9's knocked out and Rose is gone. Maybe 10 and 11 have to team up to save everybody. Who knows? But I liked the twist. It certainly was. I certainly wasn't expecting that, even though Keith warned you.
Even though I called it. Come on. I guess you were just surprised.
I was still a little
right.
surprised by it.
I was too.
As for the rest of the story, it was all right. The creeper guy that wanted Rose to stay on the planet with him reminded me of all the creepers that Perry had to deal with in her time, which reminds me, we still don't know where the real Perry ended up, and what was Frobisher swapping places back in 6 Prisoners of Time story. Still so many questions, which hopefully they will address. You guys, you'll have to help me with my recall here. We still don't know where the real Perry ended up?
Yes.
Because Frobisher turned into Perry for
That's
Adam
right.
to
That's right.
capture him.
Okay. Because for some reason, I forgot that's what it happened. I thought he'd taken both of them.
No.
Okay. So maybe I didn't realize that. Okay. Speaking of 6, Project Twilight. I've listened to this story 3 or 4 times, and I really like it. It's really dark, but the darkness actually serves the kind of story that they're telling. I will admit the Doctor's reaction as the Part 1 cliffhanger of vampires made me laugh, probably because it's hard to take vampires seriously anymore, but I like the explanation they gave and the action as the story goes on. As I understand it, this is the first part of a longer story arc that weaves in and out of the 7th Doctor storyline in Big Finish. So it's something I'm going to have to hang with to get the full picture, but just from listening to the first part, it's probably worth it. Okay, I've got to head out. Until next time, Chrissy. Thank you very much, Chrissy. And we'll address that story soon as well.
Vampires? I can't do it justice. He had such a great delivery. Just got warm fuzzies. I love 6.
Up next is Holly. Holly writes 145, Project Twilight, sparkling vampires need not apply. Hey guys, Project Twilight. This was my first audio adventure with Evelyn Smythe. I have to say that I really enjoy her character, and will most definitely go back and check out some of her earlier stories with the 6th Doctor. We get a nod to Zagreus in this story. This was a rather interesting story with the vampires being a race that actually attacked the Time Lords long ago. I have to admit, in the beginning half the story, I thought we were going to be dwelling with a Jack the Ripper type alien. Then when the sun disease got brought up, that's when I started to think that they were going to go the vampire route with this story, and it's very well done. I'll wrap it up here. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts and everyone else's on this episode. Holly from Wisconsin.
Hope I ain't losing you pieces. Holly, I think you just won the award for naming this week's show.
That is a good name.
Sparkling vampires need not apply.
There was one more bit of feedback that I wanted to mention. Let me find it now real quick. Theta Sigma Doctor Who podcast posted on our Facebook page, and I wanted to read out what he said and thank them for their comments. He said, "Hey guys, just want to drop in and say what a great podcast you guys host. Love hearing what you are all up to and your discussions on the week's topic. Thanks, guys."
Well, thank you very much.
I just thought it was a very nice little note they sent us.
All right, well, let's move on to business at hand, and we are starting with this week, Project Twilight.
Once my page will load. Okay, there we go. 1999. The 6th Doctor and Evelyn try to find out what connects Project Twilight, a secret government initiative, to a seedy casino in London Docklands.
Dun, dun, dun! That was a really short synopsis.
I found the short one. Because the other one's really long. What do you think, Sean?
I don't know. We always start with Glenn. I'm feeling out of sorts. I liked this one. I honestly, I put it on the schedule just because I kind of felt like it was time to get some more Evelyn in our lives. we kind of skipped ahead to do some other things, and so it was like, we got to get back to this one. And
this was next in line, right? We haven't been jumping around with her.
We haven't jumped any of Evelyn's time stream. We're still chronological with her.
So right before this would have been the Silurian story.
Blood Tide, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I thought it was very good. I thought it was very well done. Once again, with every audio that I listen to, I love Colin Baker more and more because he's just nails it. I love Evelyn as a character. The plot to this one, there were elements of it that I really, 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 really liked, and then there were other elements that are kind of like, I'm not sure how I really feel about that. I don't want to pick it apart yet, because I'm kind of interested in getting your guys' opinions before I say anything.
That's why you wait to go last.
That's usually why I wait to go last, yeah. Well, here, we're going to mix it up for you. Well, ready for this? It felt a little bit like V for Vendetta.
I didn't get that vibe at all.
You didn't get that vibe at all? I totally agree with what you said, Keith, when you said...
This was off mic. It's Blade.
Blade 2, specifically.
Yeah.
Felt very Blade 2.
With all
genetic
the
I didn't get that either. But
Genetic
maybe
research.
because I heard this first, then saw Blade 2.
That could be.
Because I heard this years and years ago.
And I didn't like Blade 2. This was better.
I like Blade 2.
I thought Blade 2 was the weakest of the three.
I really like Blade 2. I haven't seen Blade 3 yet, though.
You mean Blade Trinity?
Or Blade Trinity. But, I don't know, there were a lot of things that I really liked, and then there was a lot of things that... Okay, so where ultimately the plan is I am going to unleash this virus on humanity. Okay, I'm going to just give you the whole, I'm going to crush the vial in my hand and the virus will be spread bit, even though you had to inject it into the other girl to get it to work, and I didn't hear you talk anything about weaponizing it or creating an aerosol or something that's going to dissolve in the Thames.
Things kind of escalated
Because I'm pretty
quickly.
sure if you threw that in the Thames would kill it.
It's Thames.
Thames. It would just kill it. Because, yeah, go ahead, throw a life form in here, see what happens to you. Virus? No problem. Okay, well, I'll skip over that. I'm not going to qualm about that. Why do the megalomaniacs never think their plans through? I'm going to turn all of humanity into vampires. Great. What are you going to eat? You will have nothing to feed on.
It's that Ethan Hawke movie. Is what the event will become.
Daybreakers, yeah.
Yeah. Where there are no humans and everyone has to ration and, yeah.
I mean, are they going to just... Oh, we've got a couple of blood farms, which... Oh, wow, the blood farm. Mega points.
That was a really cool.
Creepy, cool...
Where they were... And it was
Just-
the fact that they went a step further than they were taking people and keeping them for blood.
Yeah.
The fact that they were breeding
them
people
specifically
for
for
this.
that purpose. Just high marks for a
Well,
very...
That shouldn't have surprised you at all, Sean. I'm going to step in here and just do a little tiny minor spoiler because, in fact, when I listened to this years ago, and then I started listening to this again, I went, oh, crud. We did it again to Keith. We didn't watch State of Decay before this. Now, later on, as I listened to it, I recalled that there's just really kind of a mention of... It's really kind of the mention of vampire lore that we get out of this. And
didn't think
there's
there was
no
anything
reference
real
to
tie
State of
into
Decay,
it.
other than there are some correlations. However, that's what they were doing in State of Decay, was they had these blood banks, essentially, that they were using humans in order
breeding
to...
humans?
Well, they weren't breeding them.
That's
the key.
They were plucking them from the village, and they were using them to...
that's a pretty common vampire trope.
Yeah, that in State of Decay, it's very much we're just calling the populace. This was specifically, we have captured you, we have bred you, we're keeping you in cages.
Just
You're
like
not
cattle.
even human anymore.
Yeah, it's like cattle.
Yeah.
To that extent. And I give them full props for going in that, because that in and of itself is a very adult, very dark, very sci-fi idea. And I really appreciate it. Now, I didn't enjoy that from the, this is a really creepy aspect of this story, but I appreciated the fact that they went to that level to really kind of drive home that creep factor and I just, I had a similar idea for a script that never wound up being written that I was going to do, in which a Star Trek script in which they find out the Borg have been breeding humans specifically to be assimilated.
Ooh.
I thought that was kind of a cool idea. So it reminded me a lot of that. And I was like, hey, cool, I thought of this first, but probably not. I don't know when this came out, but so I liked that of it. But yeah, like, what are you going to? Do you have? I'm kind of of the opinion that it seems like you guys only have the three of you of these vampires.
Well, there was
And
it ends up being three,
ends
but
up
there was
being
more
three.
before that.
Well, I don't know if you can count Nathaniel or whatnot.
Yeah, Nathaniel was kind of he was a vampire,
Yeah.
but his weakness is what basically mutated him.
Right. So
I also like.
I don't know how many blood farms they could have set up.
That's what you bring vampires and werewolves and stuff in the science fiction, and I start to have issues with it because I think they're mostly supernatural. I liked how this explained why they're vampires. The fact that it's not uniform throughout the board. They're not afraid of garlic. It's not. They won't shy away from a cross. It does a nice way of explaining why the mist became of sunlight, because a certain vampire had that certain weakness, and so that got written into the lore. I appreciate it when any story explains away the lore for Dracula and everything else that's set up when they're doing their own thing. and the fact that they weren't just spawns of the devil.
Yeah.
They were scientifically created. Okay, you won me. I have no qualms with the vampires in this now.
That's not exactly true, and I've got a little foreknowledge, so I have to be careful how I tread. It's not. They're not entirely scientific. This particular version of vampires, right? The Forge basically is kind of Torchwood-esque or Unit-esque. They discovered alien genes or technology or something, and that's what. So they didn't. But still, they didn't. Yeah, but I guess I don't want you to get the impression that they formulated this in a test tube and then did it. It actually comes from something that is related to state of decay, and something that the doctor said. The doctor mentions in this particular story that the vampires were driven out of basically the galaxy because they were the scourge of the galaxy, and so they were driven out.
That these ones weren't specifically those vampires either.
Yes,
yeah.
But
so that's a new batch.
In a way, they're descendants. Not descendants
because of the.
Yeah, I mean they're quasi descendants of these vampires.
But I guess it would be kind of like.
I think if I remember right, because I have heard most of the project stories that involve the Forge, and unfortunately I can't. It's been so many years ago I can't remember. But if I remember right, we learn more of where this virus comes from, where they get the genes and the mutations in order to use them on these. Oh,
and that's what I like, the fact that it was just basically genetic mutation.
And I didn't mean to jump in and interrupt you. I just want to make sure you didn't think it was completely fabricated in a lab.
Well, no, I got the impression that it wasn't. It was just that it's not supernatural means, and that they aren't descendants of actual Dracula. It's
right.
It's a genetic mutation, and it's very clear in the story that it is.
But I sort of get the impression that the vampires that came down through history were descendants of this species that the Doctor's aware of, that the Time Lords are aware of as well.
That's possible too.
Yeah. So Dracula could have been one of those, but it still lends to the scientific explanation for vampires, and as you said, the legends and lore get kind of exaggerated based on fact, and so and this in a way would do the same thing.
And it's very common for any writer to do when they do a vampire. They tend to create their own lore.
So before you jumped in, and I was going to say that was one of the things that I liked about this is the fact that it kind of along the same lines of that the lore has been created the legend has been created that they can't go out in the sunlight. Well, essentially, each vampire has their own weakness, and some of them might actually be allergic to sunlight, but some of them, obviously, as we find out in this, are allergic to water or other, different elements that cause them to basically have a kryptonite.
Although I never really got the impression in the story, they had the blood bags, but they don't really feed. I never noticed in the story.
What's his name? Reggie was drinking blood straight out of a glass, although it sounded more like it was really thin blood because he was pouring and drinking it like it was liquor. But that was him drinking blood.
But they don't. They didn't feed in the typical vampire.
Oh fashion. No, bite on the neck and
they didn't have that,
and they don't in state of decay either.
Nice twist.
They're harvesting that blood from these blood banks and basically sucking it down in a glass.
And I always appreciate when.
Which is maybe why it pours easier because... Did I get his name right? Is it Reggie?
Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie, maybe he mixes it with it's harder drinks. I don't know. Because as he threw it down, he sounded like he was drinking straight liquor, so...
There are a couple... Well, not a couple. There's a lot of tropes in this story.
Oh, there certainly are.
We've got...
But they're used well.
Van Helsing character.
They're used well.
Which I felt like they didn't really...
Nimrod.
They explained Nimrod, but I don't know. It just
stand by, faithful.
Yeah.
Does he come back?
The way this ended with him not being dead at the end. I didn't see
as they unravel
that he was the Doctor that created them. I didn't see that.
I didn't see that twist coming.
As they unravel the mystery of the Forge, we'll get a lot more background on Nimrod. Mm-hmm. So.
But he was definitely the Van Helsing character. And then I don't know about anybody else, but when she's going on pleading with the Doctor about her poor sob story and he's like, oh, well, I suppose I can help you. I'm screaming, what are you? She's evil. Don't buy that. Really? She's got a dead body on a plate in the back room, and you're just going to, okay, I'll help you. Doc, what's going on with you?
I think the problem with that, though, is you have a little more foresight or information in the story than the doctor does.
That's true.
Because she's being very vicious and evil before when we're first introduced to her. But they try to play it off as though maybe we've misunderstood this character, that maybe she really is trying to be helpful, and that she's, she was in the middle of trying to get a cure for this person when they died. So, I mean, in fact, when I listened to it the first time years ago, I kind of thought, oh, they were misdirecting me. I thought she was bad. She really is good. So the first time that happened when I read it, now this time I had, I had a lot more knowledge, and I was screaming at the thing going, you stupid idiot, she's the bad guy. No. But I remember before not thinking, oh, they're just, using some misdirection so that I think that she's bad and she's really not. And then they turn around and reveal that she is. So
I thought the same thing the first time, or while listening to this, so I didn't have a problem with it. I thought, oh, maybe they're actually going to prove that she's
better
not
at spotting evil.
Apparently,
takes one to know one. But so that was there. The other parts of my concerns kind of stem from the ending, which, knowing that there are more stories, I'm kind of willing to kind of I'm willing to kind of set that on the back burner. But the idea that we're going to drop, what was her name, Cassie, the waitress, we're just going to drop Cassie off in Norway. There you go. I'll check in on you later.
Yeah, we're going to come back and...
Good luck.
Yeah.
I've got a whole lab full of equipment and a time machine. I can go anywhere in the galaxy and fix this. But, we'll just drop you off in Norway. What do they say in Norway? At Wiedersehen?
I thought that was a little weird. I didn't like that aspect of it.
Well, and, the whole thing with her whole character arc was... the kid. I gotta make my fortune so I can get back to the kid. I regret leaving my kid. I'm a vampire. I can't go home to the kid. What have I done? Leave me in Norway. What does that have to do with the kid?
Why not just let him cure you?
Yeah. Go get fixed, then go to the kid. Obviously, she's got to factor in because of what Nimrod says at the end. Oh, yeah, there was an offspring. I'll go get her for you. I was like, okay, so
yeah.
I'm going to allow it, but it just seemed weird.
But doesn't... I was kind of surprised that Amelia lived also.
Yeah. That they, we dropped her in the river and...
She may be alive, she may be dead, we don't know.
Away.
The main vampire woman.
She died.
No, they didn't... No, they
didn't really tell us, but
he
presumes that she suffered from the same affliction as, what's his name?
He says
and that water was...
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would think she would have known water was long before that.
I don't recall her returning though, so I think that
she doesn't.
They might have.
Seen.
They might have
maybe wanted to.
Well, maybe kept her on the back burner in case they needed to reinduce her, but they haven't.
I never got
any
of
the stories
that she was killed, though.
So I guess maybe that's why. Having gone on and knowing she doesn't show up again, maybe in my mind, this time listening to it, going, "Oh yeah, no, she was dead."
So then there's this. I don't know. Maybe I just missed this part. The Forge, where all of this stuff happens. Mm-hmm. This is the part that to me very much V for Vendetta. That there's this organization that's doing this genetic experimentation, and then
okay, all right. I kind of see where you're coming from now. I still don't get that vibe.
I got more of a almost Hellboy-ish vibe from it than anything else. Because it felt more like...
so Guillermo del Toro did this episode.
Pretty much. The Nazis trying to get a one-up.
Right.
That's the impression I got the entire time of what the Forge was.
But the Forge were the good guys.
They
weren't the Nazis.
From a certain point of view.
She shoots the doctor.
The Nazis were a good guy from a certain point of view.
We'll call him Nimrod so as not to confuse him with the doctor. She shoots Nimrod and escapes. Did I miss the part? Didn't she blow the Forge up in order to? He
blew up the Forge.
He blew the
the
lab up.
He blew the lab up.
Yeah,
but apparently not the Forge because he's lying there dead. Injects himself with the vampire venom so that he'll survive.
The Forge is an organization, so don't.
But then
don't confuse that with.
Well, okay, because maybe that's what I was doing because he makes the comment that he had to keep going back to the Forge and they fixed his sunlight affliction.
Right. The Forge is an organization. And we don't see any other Forge members in this. He
Right.
refers to them.
I just the Forge.
He just
like Rassilon. The Forge.
and this is not giving anything
It sounds
away.
like a base.
This is not giving anything away. This story is very clear that he's pretty much a cyborg by now.
Yeah.
Because he makes
Yeah.
comment, "Do you like my armor?" And I've had some more upgrades since he's talking to Reggie. I've had more upgrades because he and Reggie at one point had some sort of battle, and he totally decimated Reggie, and Reggie took some time to recover.
Yeah.
And so now Reggie's ready, to go back because he feels like he's stronger and he can take on Nimrod, and he's got a bigger head about it in this story. Well, at this point, I shouldn't say in the story. There's no background to that other than what they allude to.
Reggie the idiot.
Yeah, but
He sounded very familiar to me. Did you guys think his
He
voice
sounded a little bit like Mark Shepard, but wasn't, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think he was, but I didn't look. I guess it could have
No,
been Mark Shepard.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm just assuming it wasn't Mark Shepard.
It wasn't Mark Shepard.
But quite
I've
honestly-
enjoyed this story both times that I've listened to it.
It's an enjoyable story. It's a
good.
fun ride, despite any issues that.
The issues in it
that
that
are
and you
there.
brought up are there, but they're minor to me.
Yeah, they
they're
really
so
are.
second that the story is so good and it's so well told. What I really enjoy about this is that Big Finish, more than any other story that came ahead of this, and this isn't too far into the line. This is like 45 or something like that. 43. Was it earlier?
23.
23. That's what I'm sorry. Yeah, this was in the 20s. So more so than anything that has come ahead, this is a bold, dark story with some very graphic elements in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as Chrissy or Holly pointed out, I think it was Chrissy, the violence in it and the gruesomeness of it serves the story very well.
It really
It
does.
doesn't. It's not gratuitous, as though some people would just, if you're trying to do a dark vampire story, would just throw a bunch of if Quentin Tarantino had done this, it'd have been. Which, speaking of Tarantino, did you notice that the name of the bar, that Reggie's bar, is the Dusk?
Yeah, the-
Yeah, it's Dusk. So anyway, but if Tarantino had done it, it'd just been blood-soaked walls. But it's really tactfully done.
It's
and
tactful
very necessary for the
and
story.
Shocking
Yeah,
when it needs
There's
to be,
shocking
but not
moments, yeah.
but not more than it needs to.
I would agree.
I thought his voice sounded like Vinnie Jones.
yeah.
You don't think so?
Nah.
It's been a while since I've seen Snatch, so
I don't know who that is. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you guys kind of hit on everything. It's Evelyn at her best. Although I've never seen Evelyn at her worst yet, or heard Evelyn at her worst yet.
Oh,
The Doctor continues to be better and better.
I felt
every
like
time
they
that I
didn't
hear
give
him.
Evelyn quite enough to do. Like, she had the great stuff with Cassie.
I think so.
But it felt
yeah.
like she was kind of more on the back burner
The nice thing-
than like Blood Tide,
Yeah, I would agree.
where she's so strong and so great.
Which
and
is maybe why they did that, because they strike a balance,
Maybe.
because the Doctor doesn't have a lot
That's
to do in
true.
Blood Tide. It's really Evelyn's story, and Evelyn was even very much the strong in
And,
the one with Queen Victoria, or Queen,
Tudor.
what was it called?
her first one.
Yeah, her first story. I mean, she's heavy in that. So she is kind of put back on this one, but I love the fact this was wonderful. In fact, I didn't see this coming the first time, and I probably should have. When Cassie and her, Cassie has been turned, and Reggie basically turns her loose so that she could feed on Evelyn, and then she turns on him. I loved that.
that was a great-
that was so wonderful,
great
and you
bit.
can tell that it was because of that bond that Evelyn, she was so sympathetic for Cassie. She was so, I want to help you, and she was so passionate with her, and it was that handling of Cassie is the reason why that turns out that way. And I so love that connection and that bonding that Cassie and Evelyn formulated there.
I think the bond is a big part of it, but I like the fact that it also shows that just because others might consider you a monster doesn't mean you actually are.
That's true.
And that's a great exploration.
I think that's-
just because you made me a monster doesn't mean I have to act like you.
Yeah.
That
I
also
always like when they do something like that.
also lends credibility to why the Doctor would just
leave her.
leave her to her own.
I don't like that
devices.
he left her, but it does give credibility.
Yeah.
Well, it's not so much that I'm worried that Cassie's going to reverse type and begin, raiding.
That she's going to go
Northlandic
30 days of night.
villages and stealing children, but it it just seems an odd place to leave the character after the arc that we'd gone through with her to just, oh, I have to take responsibility for it, and I'm going to be dropped off in the snowy fields of Norway. Okay, I don't get it. She's obviously Scottish, you know.
Because it's dark all the time.
Yeah.
And he's going to go get her.
Did you see 30 Days of Night?
He's going to go get her.
Days of Night,
he's going to go get her daughter her son, and bring him to her, and they're going to be able to live happily ever after. Well, spoilers.
Could have taken her to an abandoned asteroid.
Wasn't it
for
a
that
son?
fact, too, just to be. But
Wasn't it a son?
I thought it was a son.
It is a son. I said daughter, and then I said, I mean her son.
Oh, okay.
I corrected myself.
I didn't hear you correct yourself. I'm sorry.
No, it was her son. Or was it? I do know more than you. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was a son.
Anything else about Project Twilight?
I don't think so.
So, since you've read the others, how
I listened to them.
since you've listened to the
But I
others,
only
one of
correct
them
you
is a
because
novel.
nobody said last week when I referred to the rest of the Ninth Doctors as audios. Nobody corrected me last week when they were novels.
did you say that?
Yeah.
How dedicated should we be to getting the rest of these Twilights on the schedule?
That's the problem. Is I
sequence out?
remember minute details about them, but I'll go look now. I'll go investigate this so that we
You
don't
go
spoil
investigate
anything.
since you've heard them.
I think
Leave us out.
I think we stay on the line of these mutated vampires with some reference to, like we did in this one, the fact that vampires were.
Well,
But you said they come back like in the Seventh Doctor era.
if we continue with the
I
line,
think both. There's
the
two
next-
more
the next
stories. I think
project
there's
one.
Project Destiny and Project Lazarus. Lazarus is first.
Project
and then
Lazarus.
Project Destiny.
is number 45.
And they're both Seventh Doctor, I believe.
It looks like, according to the cover, Lazarus may be
You're not supposed to be peeking.
6 and 7. I'm just going by the cover, which I
Remember
could
both
see
of
by
them, but maybe
looking
they
at my
were.
computer.
It's been many years, but
And
yeah,
you're looking. Is
And
the point I was trying to make
139.
there.
I'll
And
do some-
139 is the other one.
I'll do some checking, make sure.
There's also a novel, apparently.
Oh,
Project Valhalla.
I didn't know that. Oh, Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to delve into that because I know a little something more about that too.
Oh, can I give you a real brief encapsulated book review on Endgame since I finished it?
Absolutely, we're done with this. Let's
Are
do
we
that
done
in
with
between this
Yeah,
and
we're done with this.
Prisoner of the Time.
So imagine that this is 2 weeks ago, and I'm sitting in on the book reviews, and we're in that atmosphere, and it's all Eighth Doctor and spies. Okay, you got that? You get the atmosphere and the mindset. Okay, so Endgame by Terrence Dicks is very much another one of those novels that's set in that exact same time frame. The Doctor's lost his memory. I don't know why. They don't
Is it
talk about
Fitzenanji?
No, he's not got any companions.
Oh.
He's on Earth, and he's stranded. Maybe it's a different time that he lost his memory. I don't know. He's living a very normal, mortal life, even though he's not normal and he's not mortal. He's got a flat. He's got a basement where he keeps this big, gigantic blue box, and he goes and opens it, and there's nothing inside.
It's human nature meets the lodger.
Yeah. He stands there and he looks at it and he's puzzled because he knows there should be something there. And he opens it up, there's nothing inside, and he closes the door. And it's like waiting for the refrigerator light to come on. Open? No. Open? No. And he just keeps doing this. In the meantime, he's spending every waking moment in the National Registry, looking at things in the library, reading these reports. And he doesn't know what he's searching for. He just knows that he's searching. He's got a friend who's a drunk. Oscar the drunk. Oscar is paranoid. Oscar is in the former intelligence service. And Oscar comes to him one day and says, they're chasing me. And the doctor's like, yeah. And he says, I'm going to give you these papers. He goes, I don't want them. I'm not involved. He goes, no, trust me. You got to have these papers because they're going to come after me. The doctor takes Oscar home, thinks he'll have a good night on the bed, and he'll sleep on the couch, and Oscar will feel better in the morning, and nobody will be chasing him. Oscar sneaks out and gets promptly picked up by the KGB, who are a little more overzealous in their interrogation techniques, and off poor Oscar. But the papers are still with the doctor, who wakes up and finds them, and he's infuriated that Oscar would pull such a dirty, rotten trick on him. He gets picked up by the KGB, he gets vigorously interrogated by the KGB. The British agents break him out of that after he pretty much gave them what for, because I've been interrogated by better than you, and it's a very Eighth Doctor moments. And it's fun hearing Paul McGann's voice in your head when you're reading these. And so they go on and on and on. And he kind of gets roped into the British Secret Service because there are these shadowy players that are unbalancing the war. Now, it's set kind of at the height of the Cold War. Lenin's still around. We've had the fall of Germany and everything, but the pieces on the board are still very much in a state of flux, and Truman is president. Well, these shadowy players are some sort of alien entity that has been playing games on Earth for a long time, and now they've declared an end game where they're going to just go ahead and go for broke, move all the pieces into position, and see which side gets to win and burn the planet down.
Ooh.
So the one side's pushing Truman to, okay, you fired MacArthur, but we're going to invade China, we're going to invade Korea, we're going to invade, and the Korean War's going on at this point. And, they're kind of trying to push Truman into dropping another nuke. And the other side's got Stalin, and they're kind of trying to push him into a first strike against America. And the Doctor kind of gets bounced back and forth as a very unwitting, unwilling, I'm not happy about this pawn to uncover this bigger conspiracy. There are members of the intelligence community that are aware of the players. They're not quite sure what's going on with them, but they know that there's another entity out there that's causing problems and trying to put a stop to it because, well, let's just face it, our own government's not up to the task. So there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of running through quarters action with, a double agent who's actually a triple agent, and on and on and on, and the Doctor's just kind of boom, 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 boom. He meets Truman. There's a really bad mad scientist who's been pushing Truman with the mind control device. It's the 50s, so they've got the psi power experiments and all this kind of stuff. He goes to Russia and meets Stalin, and the final reveal, or toward the end of the book, it's probably about 3/4 of the way through the book, where I'm just kind of cruising on autopilot through most of this, because it's like, it's alright. The reveal is when the Countess, the woman who's kind of been influencing Stalin on his end, meets the Doctor. And she says, "Oh, it's you. I was wondering if I would meet you again." And my ears pricked up, and I went, "Oh, who is this?" And she says, "First you were that funny little clownish man, and then that giant bull bear." She says, "You've changed again." And he says, "Do I know you?" And she says, "Well, you know me as Countess so-and-so and Countess such-and-such." I'm racking my brains trying to figure out who these two countesses are. I've done a little bit of research, but I haven't actually had the chance to sit down and really delve into it. But I believe it's implied that she's the Countess from City of Death.
Oh, okay.
And that apparently she is an alien who also met the second Doctor. And that she was just in a different form.
Okay.
So it's like, ooh, all of a sudden this got really cool. I'm going to have to delve into this. Unfortunately, it doesn't really go anywhere from there. Mm-hmm. She goes back and reports to the Masters that, the Doctor's here. Well, did you take care of him? No. He's broken. I'm not going to mess with him until he's a worthy opponent. But right now, he's not at full strength. And the Doctor kind of convinces her that maybe an end game is not such a good idea. And she says, "Oh, I agreed with you. I was outvoted on the matter. The other guys wanted to do it. We've had too much fun on this planet. Why would I want to see it burn?" But, so he convinces her, and she kind of calms Stalin down. And the Doctor's busted up the mind hypnosis ring in Washington. So everything kind of goes back to normal. And then there's a strange epilogue where it kind of reveals what happened to all the spies that you met during this ride. And it's like, I don't care about any of these people. Okay, sure. And the Doctor gets his box back, and he's very happy, and he goes back to living his normal, mundane life, because he still hasn't figured out who he is, other than that he now has a sense of purpose, because he's kind of been rekindled with that interest in helping people.
Okay.
So he's got that back, at least. And that's where it ended. And I just thought, wow, for a Terrence Dicks novel, I'm really kind of disappointed with this, because I just expected something much more grand. And, I love Terrence Dicks, and, everything Terrence Dicks writes is awesome. No, not so much.
Well, I could say that this is actually this is a couple of stories before Earthworld, and even more stories before.
So it's earlier in that run.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But
it's got to be after
the only reason I know this, and I'm looking because there's a gap here where he has no companions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 where he has no companions, and that must be what happened in Earthworld. I think I alluded to this fact that Fitz isn't really Fitz. he's a copy of Fitz from
Yeah, you did mention
there
that.
on. And that Fitz was a real guy, but that he's kind of a replacement for Fitz. Well, they also make this. They allude to the fact that that Fitz has been waiting around, and the Doctor's been searching for Fitz for like 100 or 1,000 years or something like that. So you get the impression, it must be 100, but you get the impression that a lot of this blank area takes place in this 100 years that he's searching for Fitz, or Fitz has waited 100 years to meet back up with the Doctor. You don't know
he
exactly
he doesn't
how.
know why the Doctor hasn't come from
Right,
yet, but
and at some
something happened,
point
the Doctor
in
got
Fitz and Compassion's last story with him, because Compassion would have been a former companion in this run as well, at some point the Doctor loses his memory because of events.
Okay, there's a book, The Ancestor's Cell, which
Yes.
starts off, according to TARDIS
Interestingly
Wiki.
enough, it has Romana 3 in it, according to this.
Romana 3?
TARDIS Wiki, it's a line of books where he's lost his memory and is exiled to Earth
Yeah,
from the events that happened in Ancestor's
maybe
Cell.
Romana's the one that exiles him.
I don't know.
So anyway, you're in that.
But
period
so then
there.
he's been
Yeah.
separated from everybody.
All right. Well, and then he meets up again with.
It almost seems like you
Angie,
need to,
or he meets up again with Fritz, and then picks up Angie in 2 books later. So cool.
Interesting.
Well, interesting. Well, that sounds like it sounds like it has this fantastic premise, and just kind of drops off and fizzles there at the end. So, which I too am surprised that the Terrence Dicks novel would.
I said it's not that
Let
it was,
down
Yeah,
that
I mean, it's not
much.
that it was not an enjoyable read, because it was. It's just that I didn't necessarily go into it. I went into it expecting a Doctor Who book, not necessarily a 60s spy thriller
Yeah.
with a lot of Doctor Who-ish elements.
Right.
And no actual Doctor, since he doesn't remember everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost kind of more of the Tom Baker from Seeds of Doom Doctor, because there's a lot of running about and bashing people in the face with, Venusian Aikido as needed, and dismantling guys with. I mean, there's one particular assassin who is one of the players, and he keeps coming after him, not necessarily because it's part of the Grand Master plan, but because it's going to cause a minor bit of chaos, and he's just all about that. But the Doctor's in the way, and so he surprises the Doctor the first encounter. But as they keep being repeated, the Doctor just seems almost bored with him, even though he's an alien entity and he's got some sort of magical, he can, apparate into spirit will and do all kinds of stuff. But the Doctor's almost bored with him, despite his supernatural powers. He throws him off a train. He throws him out of a moving car. And the guy keeps showing back up, and the Doctor's like, "Oh, you're back," and then he throws him out of a moving vehicle. It's just like, Huck, get out of my way, I'm busy. So, and again, because it's Paul McGann, it's done with much aplomb and a lot of fun. But yeah, it wasn't quite what I was hoping for when I was reading it.
Sorry.
So there's my book review.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for that.
Interesting.
A little aside there. All right. Well, let's move on to Prisoners of Time, number 9.
Called it.
Yes, you did.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
I thought this was a... First half of this comic is all just set up, really. And it feels... when I was reading it, I was like, this seems like it's just rushing.
Yeah, completely feels right.
Why the motivations of this guy aren't well realized, but it's all so we can just get to the big reveal,
Right.
which takes half the book.
Which stinks that
It's
it's almost like we feel compelled to...
They almost shouldn't have included the story.
Yes,
They should have
agreed.
just gone straight out
Agreed.
and done the reveal and fallout
And dealt more with Adam's backstory, so that doesn't feel rushed. Because that was
Yes.
another issue that I had with this, is not only do we spend half this book on a story that really doesn't matter, and then we turn around and rush through Adam's backstory so that it's not quite believable enough. You know what I mean? Because as somebody else said, I'd like to know how Adam went from being this, nerdy geek doof to this swashbuckling.
Yeah.
It didn't play out very well.
I liked it. Except for all those things that you guys just pointed out.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought
See, I didn't like it. That's my problem.
the tone
I didn't have a problem with it.
of the Ninth Doctor Rose conversations was spot on.
Agreed.
They're
written well.
Very, very well written Ninth Doctor. And a lot of his comments.
But Adam's not written well.
Howard Hughes, Bill Gates, Scrooge McDuck's peasants. I mean, it's just totally a Chris Russell line, and you know, so much of the way that he would deliver the lines I could hear. So that was very
I agree
true.
with that.
I thought the artwork was back up a notch from last.
Oh, certainly. It's up several notches compared to last.
Several notches.
Yeah. Did you hear we got
called out on that again?
by Chrissy?
Yeah. And
I apologize.
Well, and I kind of feel bad that we're still on that in a way, but you know, because we try very hard to be fair. A comic book, obviously, it's a visual medium, so we have to talk a little bit about the artwork. But I don't want to completely go off the rails and just bomb somebody for the artwork on this stuff. But I'm sorry, that Eighth Doctor one was.
Well,
it was just bad.
I'm gonna put another coat on because I feel like after listening to this discussion again in our last podcast and still feeling bad that Chrissy brought that up and then we almost shut that down. I'm going to go back on it again and say that comic books are a visual medium.
Right.
So I apologize to you for shutting you down all the time when you start, because you'll say, and the artwork is bad here and the artwork's bad, and I'll go, okay, well, we've touched on the artwork, let's move on.
Let's move on.
But half of a comic book is the art. And so if the art is unappealing or doesn't feel like it fits, then we should be allowed to
complain about it.
So I'm going back and with egg on my face and saying and admitting that I was wrong, that I think that you and Chrissy are both right to pick apart the art at any point that you want to, because of the fact that it's a visual medium. It's an artistic medium. And
Chrissy, I think, didn't have as big a problem with the artwork as what I did. But
she didn't have a chance
she wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
she didn't have a chance because we had kind of shut her down and said, well, that's just what comic books do.
Yeah.
Which you should never feel like you can't criticize the parts of a story that you want to criticize. Go ahead and do it.
First of all, let's break this down very essentially. Don't ever feel like you have to go with the flow on this show.
Right.
This is for you, Chrissy, and any other listener out there. If you flat out disagree with us on something,
for it either, because,
disagree with us on something.
Agreed.
I mean, and call us out on it and say you guys are full of it.
Just
come out and say it.
I agree.
Don't jump on the bandwagon and go, well, I'm not going to send in feedback this week because I didn't agree with the boys. But
comic books, they should be as much the art as they are the story. And I think that's the problem is I keep wanting us to focus on the story. I keep wanting us to focus on the story because you know what happens when I see really bad art. Then I look for the story. I go, okay, the story's got to at least be good. And then I tend to slant and focus just on the story.
Well, and I think part of that is our view of Doctor Who in general, because we acknowledge that so many of these old stories don't have the greatest monsters, don't have the best makeup, don't have the great special effects. So we skew to the story aspects of it to try and make up for that. And I think we're still doing that with the comic.
What we're doing with the comics, and we shouldn't be doing that with the comics because, we need. If it's a good story, you need to admit that it's a good story and find the good parts of the story. But with a comic book, you have no production budget. You have you have the same production budget as the last guy did, who did a fantastic job with the artwork.
Yeah,
so
that's very
it's a fair playing field.
Skill.
Exactly, it's a fair playing field. So whereas the classics, you can't really compare them to the new because we've got totally different budgets, totally different sets, totally different technology. Here, where it's the same playing field. So that's why I say the comics get fair game.
So yeah, the artwork's a definite several notches up.
I'm sure next week I'll come back with a whole other opinion. No one's allowed to talk about the artwork anymore.
The revolving door of Glenn's mind this week is brought to you by...
what mood will Glenn be in this week?
The main plot point with this guy... I liked the idea. This rich recluse was there. It's been done.
It's done. Yeah. It's done to death.
Oh, and he's fallen in love with Rose, and he wants to commit. Well,
instantaneous.
I was actually relieved when we just wrapped it up quickly and we moved on because I thought
I liked the idea of him using time to hold back time, the time bubble stuff. I thought that was a nice twist to
Dorian Gray.
Been done.
Dorian Gray, yeah, but it's at least not a portrait.
Well, but it's the same concept.
Yeah, but. I don't remember many of these other ones where the guy falls in love with Rose and wants her to stay with him in this same situation, where it is the time bubble.
Oh.
As opposed to, we thought you were, I don't know, I didn't mind that aspect of it.
I don't know.
It's not even just so much that it's Rose. It's just that because so many of the villains have fallen in love with the companion. It's happened to Perry repeatedly.
Right,
it's happened to... I had a whole list coming into the podcast now. Barbara once. Joe.
In a different way, but...
Nobody fell for Sarah Jane, did they? Just proves the galaxy's full of idiots. Anyway, so and even outside of Doctor Who, this is not a new idea.
Yeah,
so
been there, done that.
Yeah, but there's that.
The problem I had with the other part of it was the fact that all the falling in love stuff happened way too fast, and then the idea that you got this cool idea where he's holding back time, but it's just this snow globe that easily gets broken. Okay, wait a minute now.
And the Doctor broke his machine.
But he broke a snow globe to break his machine.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if it was a complicated gizmo or something.
We don't know. There might have been a complicated gizmo inside the snowball.
This gigantic monument.
There's a big bouncy ball inside.
There is a big bouncy ball inside the snowball.
The gigantic monument and the layout of his rooms and floors and things that he's created. Okay, very fantastic. None of this lends to this design of a killer robot. There's no environment inside this that would require him to have robots with gigantic tank treads.
That's the design.
This is a design flaw from his standpoint, because he invented everything in here, right? He created all this. Yeah. Oh, and that whole, I created these ecosystems from scratch. That's Wrath of Khan. We've been there, too.
I kept seeing all this.
It's very heavily borrowed from stuff.
Which maybe it was intentional. Because they knew they were going to wrap this up quick. Because, we're done with this story halfway through. Two-thirds of the way through.
I hate to keep pulling up Star Trek, but it's also, I don't know if you've gotten to it yet, Requiem for Methuselah, where they find Flint on the planet, and it turns out that every great artist in history was the same guy.
Right.
That's kind of what I got from this. So, he breaks the snow globe, or the bell jar. He kills the rose in the literally, in the thing, and now the beast is going to be stuck a beast forever because he's going to be old and ugly. And we get the, if I can't have her, no one can line? Really? You actually said that? This is it then. If I can't have Rose, no one will. That's a direct quote.
Again,
I was having a good time up until that point.
It was just,
I was having an okay time. Not such a great time.
I was glad for the reveal in this one, and I was glad the reveal was who it was, because I was having such a poor time with the beginning of this book that it came to this, and it came out of left field, and I went, "Oh, what?"
Yeah.
Wow.
And I like the fact that Rose is the one to figure it out.
Yeah.
That she's the one that says Adam, and the Doctor's response is, "Uh-oh." Because he's reacting to her, not that he's figured this out on his own yet.
And interestingly enough, from Rose's perspective, Adam's much older because a lot of time has passed at this point.
Yeah.
But from Rose's perspective,
it hasn't been very long.
It hasn't been very long since they dropped Adam off at his home. So
it was,
or for the Doctor either, but the Doctor's used to that.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. Dropping somebody off at one age and meeting up with them.
There was a brief moment where I hoped it was Glitz.
That would be cool. That would have been cool. Glitz.
But yeah, so and we get the very sad sap story about his mom dying, and if only I'd still had this plug in my head that could have attached anything with that information, because I was totally.
He still has the plug.
Well, but
he just couldn't access it.
He couldn't access it because what he had done is he had downloaded the information from the future to his answering machine.
But
he didn't do so bad for himself, though, after that, anyway.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, if only I'd had that, because I would have had that information, I could have saved her. Yeah, because you were totally going to use that for benevolent purposes and be good.
And
right.
we pointed out, how the heck did he get in that vault? Didn't they fill that whole thing with cement? Or did they just fill, like, the top layer, and so that you couldn't get into the rest of it? Because I got the impression from Dalek that they were going to fill the entire vault with... cement.
In the
that's the impression that I got from the end of Dalek. Was that they
sealed
were
up his
really
compound with cement, walling off his treasure trove of alien
See,
technology
and it
forever.
walling off makes it sound like they just did like the top layer and
Yeah.
everything below
like
that
they
was
just
still...
made it so you couldn't access to it, and all you needed was a jacket.
Right.
And realistically, that's probably much more
Cost
accurate
effective.
well, Stanton was a rich guy. Van Stanton had a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the idea of as big as that vault was,
You couldn't
how
have-
many dump trucks would you have had to have backed up? And
Yeah, it would have
cement
taken
mixers
forever to
Right.
just
fill.
to start
That's what I'm
pouring
saying.
stuff
From-
down in there. So, I don't know.
From a cost-effective standpoint, it makes sense just to fill the top layer and then you're vaulted off. So.
I never even thought of that while I was reading this.
Now,
honestly,
the absolute best thing ever, Cyberman Bob makes an appearance. In case
Yeah.
you'd forgotten, that's Bob's head. That's cool.
Because we decided that was Bob's head in the vault, right? Van Zandt's
Yes.
vault.
That's where his head went.
Yeah.
That's where his head went.
and that's how he was able to get the vortex manipulator.
Yeah, the Vortex manipulator was very cool, too.
I wondered if there was.
I hope
mean,
they kind
it's-
of explore how he was able to hide it from the Doctor more. Like how he was able to mask himself. Because it felt like that wasn't very well explained.
Yeah, he has a line here, doesn't he?
Yeah, there was a line of... where is it? I'm trying to find it now.
Well, why would he have to mask himself from the Doctor? I don't understand. And none of his previous incarnations had met Adam yet.
But then you've been remembering me more and more, haven't you, Doctor? The closer I got to your incarnation in which you actually met me, the harder it was for me to continue clouding your mind.
Yeah,
Yes, I couldn't
somehow he
remember
was
everything
clouding
you'd done.
his mind.
Well, because
Why would you have to do that?
Well,
so
from-
you
from
wouldn't
the-
know
from
that
the
you met
Doctor's
him
point-
from before?
right, but from the Doctor's, I mean, we're reading this in one chunk, skipping around. From the Doctor's point of view, two of his companions up and disappeared.
Why isn't he investigating?
Why isn't
that
he
more?
investigating?
Oh,
William
I
Hartnell?
see, I
But
see.
instead, we were allowed to continue up to Patrick Troughton's era, and two of his companions disappeared. So, he's got to be kind of fogged over
I
with
gotcha,
that, so
I
that he
gotcha.
can continue to advance.
That's what you mean. Don't
With-
not
Yeah.
necessarily masking identity, masking,
Yeah, masking
what is
what he's
happening,
doing.
what the
Yes.
process is. Okay.
Yeah, and the Doctor replies, "I didn't know who you were. Just that something bad was coming, like a buzz in the back of my head. I just didn't know what."
Okay.
And I loved Adam's comment about, "I see you've had your usual effect on your surroundings." Standing in front of this gigantic pile of rubble.
I thought it was interesting and kind of fitting that it was 9 and Rose is apologizing and 9's very much, don't be sorry about any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It almost felt out of character.
No.
It seemed
For 9?
No,
It
no.
seemed,
Oh,
it seemed
God,
a little too harsh.
No.
I don't know. I guess I just sympathize
Just having
with
watched 9 recently with Caitlin, no, that is so in character.
It's
Oh,
very
my
much. I
gosh.
like the.
It'd have been
coin
more.
flip.
It'd been more out of character for 10 to be for not to be apologizing because
Yeah.
he would.
Yeah.
But 9, no.
I like the coin flip too. The one thing that they got right in the last comic is that the 8th Doctor's going, "Look, I'm sorry for whatever you think I've done. Let's talk about it and try and fix it." Whereas the 9th Doctor is like, "Screw you! I don't have to feel bad about this."
Right.
I mean, that was
I just, it was such a harsh reaction. I was kind of taken aback by
Yeah,
it.
9
It seemed-
would have said if I had to
it-
do it all again, I'd have done it exactly the same way.
He is harsher. It just seemed harsher than normal for him.
He was as harsh
me.
in here as he was at the end when he dropped Adam off with that
I
technology.
guess that's
Yeah.
true. It's been a while since I've seen those
Yeah.
the Adam episodes, so
well, there's a reason for that. But now you can take this to Galley and get it signed. And it's
true.
I like the fact that they had the he's apparently a follower of what's his name's website.
Clyde.
Clyde. Because he's got the photos of
Yeah.
this, and then the Journal of Impossible Things makes an appearance, which was kind of cool too. But yeah, I don't know. Now that we're to that point, it was kind of like, oh right, Keith was right.
now,
Where do we go from
now,
I'm
here?
now what are
interested
you going
to
to do?
see because and there's only 2 left, so I'm glad that we've got the
Well,
reveal.
probably 3.
Think they'll do a 12
I
issue?
think those. Well,
Or a 13 issue?
No, actually, well, maybe
Or
not.
no, it would be 12.
Why would they do 12 issues? They're doing
Well, I
one
thi-
for each doctor. We've only got 2 more doctors left.
Right.
They're not going to do a 12th
we'll,
doctor.
We'll get a 10 and 11, and then maybe you get a wrap-up issue where they.
No, you
the-
won't.
the
You've only got.
culmination of
They've
everything.
only slated 11 issues, so
Have
I
they?
don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why you're thinking we'd get an bonus issue.
Because they typically do 12-issue runs at the very least
Usually.
for comics.
Comics tend to run in either 6 or 12. It's
Unless it's something weird like the...
Some of them run in 3, some of them run in 5.
It's changing a lot now. It didn't used to be. It used to be that it was
crap.
No, it used to be that it was always 6 or 12.
It's whatever they commission. So.
But like the next gen crossover was 8, so all bets are off at this point. But
they're all over the place on comics now. Sometimes they have 3-issue runs. Sometimes they have 7-issue runs.
But it didn't
it
used
just
to be
depends.
that way. It used to be the Star Wars.
100 years ago, yeah, maybe, Sean. Anyway,
back in my day,
it's 11, and they've said that there were
when
going
we
to be 11
invented the
issues.
term comics, it was always 6
Same
or
thing
8.
with the ebooks.
Or
We
6
get
or
11
12.
ebooks. All right, what's coming up next on the schedule?
Coming up next, I have to get to it.
It's usually 6 or 12.
It is usually 6 or 12.
Oh, it's whatever a comic book company wants to do.
The reason it's always 6 or 12, or usually 6 or 12, is because writers and artists sign 6-month or 12-month contracts because that determines how long they're going to be on the line. So if a writer's only going to be on it for 6 issues, he crafts a 6-issue story arc that takes 6 issues to tell, and then he moves on to something else. You bring a new writer in. So an 8-issue arc is strange. You only usually get 8-issue arcs when they fired somebody.
You're full of crap. I've been reading comics since I was 8, and there's always been runs that were not uniform to 8 or 12. So
There is going to be 12 issues.
there is 12 in this one?
It'll still be in November. November 20th.
They're doing 2 in November.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I was going based on the months that they were doing.
And then
they were
in
only releasing
December,
until November.
there will be a Volume 3 trade paperback and a complete hardback.
Right.
Oh, I've been buying the trade paperbacks. Maybe I should have waited.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if there'd be a hardback.
It makes sense to have a
Well, then,
hardback.
I will admit that I was wrong, but I was going based on the fact that there was 11 months.
Let's go back to the part where you say I was right. Again!
And they decided they couldn't wrap it up, and that's kind of weird to do 2 in 1 month.
Yeah, I wonder if it's coming out the same week. They don't.
Maybe
They don't do that detail.
I think they would just do a longer comic.
A double issue.
Yeah.
No,
just do a double issue.
the way they've told the story, it makes sense that you're still going to get an 11th Doctor story, and then you'll have to do some sort of...
Yeah, see, I never got
count.
that impression. I figured the 11th would be the one figuring out the whole thing. Now I'm kind of disappointed by that.
Well, I hope that that's the way it'll work with the audio goes.
Yeah,
that the
more-
11th Doctor will be the one to
well,
explain
that's the one last
everything.
week
The Destiny
we
of the
kind
Doctor.
of fretted that maybe we
Yeah,
weren't
maybe
going to
we
get
won't.
that.
So the comic, I never suspected that would be the case. I always thought it would be the other way around, but maybe not.
All right, what's coming up next week on the schedule? Next on the schedule.
Well, coming up next on the schedule is Friday Night Who? Ghostlight. Glenn is not a fan of
I'm
this
not
one.
a fan of this one.
I don't know that I've ever seen it, so I don't think I have. And then show number 146, we will talk about Ghostlight, and Big Finish number 12, Fires of Vulcan. Unless you think it's too late to change it to the next project, whatever story.
No, I didn't think it matters what we do there because although you'll skip past Vulcan if you do that, but
Well, we've already skipped past Vulcan.
yeah, I guess we have done some Seventh Doctor in the futures.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's probably
As long
too
as
late
you give people
Nah, it's too late
enough
to give
heads up.
It's only a week's notice. I don't want to do that.
Oh, that's next week?
Yeah.
Is it really? We did 2 Big Finish in a row? We don't usually do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
week apart.
Oh, that's how it works.
The
TARDIS in the background.
Okay. Somebody has taken the books and put them together. So we're gonna the middle one going to be the...
That'll be 11 and 12.
11. Yeah, probably issue 11, issue 12.
So if you lay all the books together,
Maybe Adam will
then
be on
it
this one.
forms the TARDIS. Maybe it'll be all of them.
That could be.
It forms the
Or
TARDIS.
they'll really surprise us and it'll be Peter.
Ooh, that would be even
Capaldi.
cooler. That would be awesome. I know they can't do that, but
We didn't think they could do Grace.
That's true. IDW kind of seems to be
You were very adamant that they were
kind
not
of
going to
doing
be
their.
critics.
Yeah, I was. based on my reasoning last
yeah,
or 2 weeks ago.
It makes sense.
When I saw the first 3 issues, I knew. I was like, oh, they're going to do a whole Todd response. That's going to be awesome. And then the 4th one came out, and it's like, that doesn't fit what's come before. And 5 and 6
But that's why, because it's
way
that one
off.
side.
I never would have imagined them going around the
Yeah.
exterior of the TARDIS clockwise like that.
You're going to have to send that so that
Yeah,
I can
send that as
post
a
it
link to the show
because
notes.
people are wondering what the heck we're talking about now. Apparently, if you lay them out in a circle right now, they're making the TARDIS.
Well, because they've got
making
kind of
the
that chalk outline of the TARDIS.
I'm sure we've got listeners going, well, duh, I figured that out when I was looking at the
Well, like I
covers.
said, when the first 3 issues, I was like, that's totally, these are going to match up. But then the 4th one, it was like, well, the TARDIS is there, but it's a weird part of it, so I don't understand what you're doing. But now I see it.
What else is...
Took up to 9 to get it.
What's
laid
beyond
on
next
track.
week?
Friday Night Who Countdown Doctor number 6 will be Vengeance on Varos, and that'll be on the 18th of October. And
We're reviewing Ghostlight and Fires of
yeah,
Vulcan
we'll be
next week.
reviewing Ghostlight and Fires of Vulcan next week.
Okay.
But then Friday Night Who will be Vengeance of Varos, but then we're going to do our big 9th Doctor anniversary. The poll is up on our website, so make sure you go and vote what episode is most representative of the 9th Doctor's era.
Story.
Because
I did lump the 2-parters together.
Okay, fair enough. And we will be discussing Doctor Who Revisited 9, and then along with the 50th anniversary discussion.
That's 2 weeks from now.
That's 2 weeks from
Okay.
now. The following week,
I need to mention that we'll have a special guest that week. She won't actually be here, but we'll be recording Caitlin's impressions of the 9th Doctor.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, very cool.
Very
to
cool.
insert into that show.
And then the following week for Friday Night Who on the 25th of October will be the 5th Doctor, because we're counting down, and we're going Warriors of the Deep, just because we need some Merca love. It's been too long.
It's been a long time.
And then we've got the Big Finish, Destiny of the Doctor, Death's Deal, which will kind of be the start of the 10th Doctor celebrations, even though that's technically a day or 2 early. Maybe not. Maybe it's way
What
early.
day?
That'll be in the actual 10th month then.
Maybe we'll move it. I don't know.
We'll be in the end of that month where we're celebrating 10. Well, everybody else is celebrating 10.
We're back to that part of the schedule where it's a little wonky, just because I'm trying to get when does this release, when does this release, when does this release, and line them all up in order to
Yeah,
accommodate.
that would be the 27th.
See, it's a little early, I think, but
Yeah,
we'll make it work. Then the following week is November 1st, the day after Halloween, Terror of the Zygons.
Terror of the Zygons. Which, by the way, go pick that up Tuesday. It comes
Go
up this week.
pick it up. And then we'll do a whole show on Terror of the Zygons. So
Because that one's new. That one has not been on DVD.
It's never been released before in the North America
on DVD
market.
It's been on video.
On DVD.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
And I will get more schedules posted later as we go out.
All right. Well, if that's it for this week, until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
No, I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.